Welcome to another CPaaSAA Talks. We are summarizing our experience in Barcelona at MWC with some of our key sponsors and members. And so we're excited to invite Infobip to join us this morning. Welcome, Ivan. We're excited to have a few minutes here together and talk about our week last week.
Thank you, Kevin. Great to join you here.
Yeah. So, looks like you made it home safely, so that's a good start. But
Yes.
tell me, what was your take of the week last week? Just kind of generally, what did you think of MWC?
Well, I was very energized after MWC. It was a great show. A lot of people came. I actually saw a lot of enterprise companies that are not even from the sector. Like I saw some people in the shirts of Sanofi and Bayer and so forth. So that was like exciting. So it means it's getting more attraction from the outside industry, and then a lot of interesting topics in terms of innovation, especially a lot of focus on network APIs, but not only. Right, already people are starting to talk about 6G, and of course the central stage, as you would expect, was taken by artificial intelligence and how it will change the way we do things or we communicate. So that was a big, and I just saw a very bright future for the overall sector, including our industry, with all of these innovations.
Right. I think there were nearly 100,000 people there as well, which is always a good sign of kind of momentum and investment in the industry and so forth. So that was great. Was there anything that kind of surprised you or stood out a little bit brighter than something else?
Actually, for me, there were kind of, let's say, the presence of widespread presence of network APIs sort of surprised me, because I didn't expect it'll go, let's say, it'll get such a spotlight. So all the companies like Ericsson, Nokia, ourselves, telcos, we were all talking about it and actually brainstorming what kind of use cases we can do, where these use cases can be applied, and so forth. So that was really, it looks like it's getting serious, which is, of course, making us very happy, as we are one of the companies that did first innovation on the network APIs. And as you know, our tech stack, we invest a lot in connectivity and the network. So this will give additional tools to both developers and enterprise customers to build exciting use cases in conjunction with communication channels. So that's the kind of what really positively surprised me. I think where I kind of there was also surprise of the absence of another thing. We didn't talk much about rich communication services, at least not publicly. Of course, in private meetings, one-on-one, there was a lot of discussions. But I think that's also, especially Apple's announcement that they will enable it on the iPhone, and as well what Google is doing. Of course, they are through Jive and then also telcos. I mean, that can be a game changer, because all of a sudden, as I said in one of the panels, you can completely rethink how you do marketing, because you don't have just anymore one-way channel where consumer can say yes or no, but you can actually have a means of conversing with your consumers, and maybe changing the offer and adjusting the promotion. So that could be a game changer for marketing and customer support. And I think maybe there is some sort of sentiments from the past when 2 or 3 times people tried to get RCS and it didn't really succeed. I think this time we feel it's really different. Telcos are really jumping in and wanna drive this channel, and as well Google and others. So I think I would have expected more there, but that's why we have next year.
That's right. No, I think that's a great observation. I'm a big fan of RCS and what that's going to do for industry, clear down to the small business and the impact that it can have. And so I think that's a proper one to highlight. And I look forward to a bunch of Infobip use cases next year that we can highlight. The ROI that you already have shown with deployments in Germany and other places are really exciting. So I think that's a great thing to highlight. And to your point on network APIs, with GSMA's Open Gateway Initiative is kind of the top tier, and then you have Camaro that's working with that, and TM Forum, and now even CPaaS Acceleration Alliance is playing a meaningful role there to help commercialize those and bring companies like Infobip, into that to bring use cases and so forth. So I agree. I think that's a super exciting area, and we're just scratching the surface. But the combination of what one might call traditional CPaaS with these new network APIs is, I think, an exciting direction that will carry us for the next couple of years.
Absolutely, right. I mean, the main problem is not so much even anymore technology. It's like how can we scale the network APIs? Because as some of your members and people who will be listening this know, we actually for a while we have, for example, mobile identity solution that's essentially a network API, and that doesn't require users to use 2FA, but we can really kind of make that seamless experience. And the problem was not to get this started in one market or launch it. The problem is, how do I scale globally? Because all of a sudden I need all the telcos to expose this API in a very consistent way, so that we can kind of connect that and offer it to businesses or developers. And that'll be the main hurdle, in my view. How do we come to that set of aligned standards that can be rapidly scaled globally?
Right. And that's clearly an initiative that we look forward to working together on, because it will have a really meaningful impact to the industry, and also, to the telcos themselves as a new revenue stream. So I think it really is a win-win situation as we're able to deploy those out. So that's exciting. So as you experienced MWC this last week, is there maybe a couple of data points that you took away that might change or impact some decisions of what you might focus on in the coming year?
Well, I think I kind of explained in my summary. We have, let's one data point, like Ericsson announced that they will have 75 telcos sort of joining some work on network APIs. That's their goal by the end of the year. We are already at like 30, so I think maybe we accelerate that part. So those kind of things are really interesting. Also, actually, in more of a private conversation, we learned some numbers of different campaigns that different companies were doing, let's say using RCS or other messaging channels, and what's the ROI on that. So that'll also drive some decisions, where to focus. In principle, it's revolving around these topics, and I think we will be, and also penetration among consumers of the channel. So that'll of course drive some business decisions. But I would also tell, for the end of this particular answer, one kind of funny thing. I was on panel, and the gentleman sitting next to me, he said, only even G's work. So odd G's do not work. So he said 1G was not the big, 3G was not the big advancement as much as we expected. 5G was not the big advancement. But then he was explaining how like 2G and 4G were really step change versus the network. And now I guess they're introducing like 6G, or slowly starting to talk about it. So that was another interesting, I don't know if it's really a data point, but I really like that.
Right. Well, and then there's the OGs like us that are pushing all this forward. So,
Yes,
it's all on the G, right? So good stuff. So I think the most important question to ask, though, is what was your best meal in Barcelona?
We had a private dinner on Monday with some top partners and customers. I think that was the best meal, and I would say, yeah, okay, if you ask the best, that was the best.
Awesome. Yeah, you can't go to Barcelona without
traditionally we also go to like a very simple restaurant, Patagonia. It has a great for people who like to eat meat, has a great selection of Argentinian and Spanish wines and meat. So we did not kind of fail that tradition this year. So we went there on the last day. I have to say that was pretty close to the best meal.
That's great. Well, I think that's the big part of it too, is you're able to spend time with colleagues. We all work so remote now, and so having people in town and having some of that personal time is another positive output. I mean, we work ourselves to death that week. We all, yes, I think, put 10 miles on our steps every day, going back and forth from hall 1 to 8. But in the end, we had a great week. It was a lot of fun.
Exactly, it was a real pleasure. I mean, also, we made some progress in terms of brainstorming, defining next step, even between CPaaS Alliance and Infobip. So I was very pleased with the event overall.
That's excellent to hear. We have the same outcome, and has me excited for next year. I think we're starting on some really tangible next things that'll be really good. So appreciate you taking some time with me today, and look forward to getting together again soon.
Well, thank you for this conversation, and also thank you for everything you're doing. Looking forward to talking soon.
Appreciate it.